And we are back once again. It is a Monday night edition of the StatrCast, the podcast from the lads at StatrDraft Fantasy Football, but done better with shinier things and much mystery as we keep on making you wait. Ooh, hey John, hey Dean, how are you guys? What are we doing tonight? What are we talking about?
Do you know what's hilarious, right? Last Wednesday, we threw our game plan out an hour before the podcast because Thomas Frank got sacked. And we mentioned Nottingham Forest in the chat that night. And then 1 a.m., the notification came in, Sean Dyche has been sacked by Nottingham Forest. We're going to look at the Nottingham Forest sacking situation. I suppose the general managerial chit-chat, because there's lots of empty seats to be filled now in the Premier League, like lots of empty seats in the Premier League. This is one of the weirdest Premier League seasons. And I think coming off of that, we're also going to look at some of the attacking, because at the end of the day, we are a fantasy football show. So I think we have some chit-chat around attacking stats this year, because it's been one of the lower scoring Premier League seasons in recent memory. And I think maybe does that coincide with the managers? Does it not? Does it coincide with a shift in style of play? We're going to delve into that, and then, of course, we're going to look at match week 27, because we had a handy week last week with FA Cup only on. So everybody got a break, everybody got a woosa, and we had midweek fixtures last week. So we're back with 27, so we're into the business end of the season.
Championship rounds, man.
This week on, I think it's after this week, we have 10 game weeks left, so 11 match weeks left as of right now. I think once we get into the final 10, that's when the real business starts. So we're going to kind of delve into all of those. Happy. I will say this. Do you know what I love about this time of the year? And it's so weird to try and manage your team, but at the same time, the fact that it is a Monday. There was a full slate of games midweek last week, and there's one on Wednesday, which means everybody's favorite three letters, DGW, are back in play. Everything between here and 35, you have to really keep an eye on those fixtures and who's going to be doubling up, who's going to be rotated, who's going to get crippled in the first game and let you down in the second game. When is it time for clever triple captains and all that stuff if you're playing next door? So I love this. Like the last few weeks of a season where everything isn't settled are brilliant from a football point of view, but from a fantasy point of view, it's the next 6 weeks. You make or break your season in the next 6 weeks. So it's critically important stuff. It's the dead game week. It's the week where half the teams are playing the FA Cup. It's the weekend of the Carabao Cup final. It's the double stacking of the fixtures.
I don't think have any English teams been knocked out of European football yet?
Nope.
Yeah.
All still in.
Nope. Including
busy
one
slate. And that's going to mean more injuries. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's going to mean a lot of things. It's going to mean more rotation, more injuries, more of attacks on the higher few teams. And as they have progressed, kind of the cream has floated to the top a bit over the last 4 weeks. Those are the guys who are most vulnerable to this heavyweight fixture thing.
They're not, really but they're actually not, because there's two teams that are still very much in Europe, but also very much facing relegation at the same stage in both Tottenham and Nottingham Forest, who we're going to talk about in depth. So they're actually competing on multiple fronts while in a relegation battle, which is going to make that very, 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 very messy. And I decided to wear my Fulham jersey today because over the next 5 weeks, and this is just my get your Fulham buzzer out, I'm just going to say it once, Fulham are probably going to be the biggest deciders in the relegation battle over the next 5 weeks. They play Tottenham, they play West Ham, they play Burnley, they play Forest, they play Palace as 5 of their next 6 games, with Sunderland next. And after that, it's actually bar Wolves. It's the next 5 bottom teams. So they're going to have the biggest say in terms of the relegation battle. Now, whether it means go pick up their players or not, we'll talk about that another week. I think we'll get into the highlight picks from next week, but we're not going to talk about that this week. I want to talk about Nottingham Forest because we didn't get a chance to delve into that. So tell me this, right? If you're 3 points clear of relegation, you're 3 points off of the relegation spot. Tell me the one manager in Premier League history that you want to hire to get you out of the shit.
Sam Allardyce.
Sean
Dyche.
No, it's Sean Dyche. It's clearly Sean Dyche. So naturally, Forest being run by a fucking lunatic have done what Forest do and sacked him. I don't understand this at all.
And did you see who they hired to make it even better?
I did. Vítor Pereira.
Vítor Pereira, who Wolves sacked. Through this season with their lowest ever points total.
God, Wolves we won't jump into Forest are just doing Forest are just kind of like 2 managers behind Wolves at the moment. And they got thinking Nuno, and then they got this fella. And has Dyche been done Wolves yet?
Not yet.
He will. It's inevitable.
But keep him up now.
You know.
Do you know what's going to be so funny? It's going to be really funny. There's a lot of room for poetic justice at the bottom, and one of the lads I work with on a daily basis keeps saying it's going to be so much fun if Nuno is the man who puts down West Ham and Forest. Or West Ham and Spurs.
I've been saying that for the last few weeks. If Nottingham Forest go down and West Ham bypass them, I hope Nuno shows up at the City Ground with a big fat Carlo Ancelotti cigar and 2 fingers straight in Americanist's face. He's sacked. They're on their 4th manager this season, for context. This has never actually been seen in a Premier League season before. And they're all competent, capable.
So, count back with me. We have Nuno first.
We had Nuno first, who fell out with him over Edu. So Edu was Arsenal's technical director. He left Arsenal at the start of this season and went to Nottingham Forest to be over the City group. So one of the Forest are one of these clubs with the multi-club model. So Edu went in as the overarching technical director of the City group. So Nuno and him didn't get along because of styles of play. So they had a falling out, and Martinez sacked Nuno and then replaced him with Ange,
who lasted like 20 minutes.
8 games, yeah.
Right.
And record sackings, top 3 record sackings in the Premier League for shortest time in charge. And then they went and hired Sean Dyche, who, hear this one, has the best win percentage he's ever had in his career. He was just nominated for the January Manager of the Month. They've lost 1 game in their last 6, so 2 wins, 3 draws, and a loss in their last 6. And they sacked him.
It's not just his best win percentage; it's his best points per match as well, which is a related but very different statistic. Because if you're Sean Dyche, right? Let's be honest, you're spending your Premier League career in the bottom quarter, right? That's where you live. That's what you specialize in. So the draws become very important. They're seen as a good thing rather than points dropped if you're a City or an Arsenal. So his points per match is 1.4 at Forest. It's never been that.
How many matches did he have?
25.
25?
But he only got 1.23 from 83 at Everton, and he got 1.34 from 425 at Burnley. This is the team that has suited him best, which means that if you are, like, if you're Mara Watson, right, and you go, right, get Ange, didn't work, okay, solidify, consolidate, control, get Dyche, and you get the best version of Dyche. It makes no sense for me to then sack Dyche. I don't know who the fuck steps in and does this. It's not Vítor Pereira.
I think he had one defeat in 6 leading up to his sacking.
1 defeat in 6.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's actually been very, very good. Nominated for the Manager of the Month award and got sacked a week later. Like,
that
owner
is just fucking...
He's on another planet. Do you know what his rationale was?
What?
Can either of you tell me the rationale? Because it was a purely emotional...
But I do actually think it's that. I wonder if he just picked up the phone and just says you're sacked and then tells the board later on or something.
I was watching the Forest West Ham game, and you could actually there was 1 or 2 times in commentary that the guys had to flag. They're like, if you're hearing any fruity language in the background, is where they were, you could hear the director behind them at times going. Blah, 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 blah.
Is that what that was?
So under Sean Dyche, West Ham, they created 35 chances against West Ham. Not 35 shots on goal. They created 35 chances, which is the most in a single Sean Dyche match in his time in the Premier League as a manager. And they just couldn't convert, which goes back to my point last week of who
the striker problem
to Forest.
Yeah.
Martinez's answer was, I've spent X amount on attacking assets over the summer. You need to be getting more out of them. And the answer he got back was, I'm getting the best out of what I have. And essentially, it became a thing of, you can go now. And I'm going to bring in a manager with a more attacking style of play with 11 or 12 games left in the Premier League season to try keep us up when they're 3 points above relegation. They're going down, in my opinion. Vítor Pereira is not a good football manager. He came in last year for Wolves, went on a 7-game winning streak and proceeded then to not win a game under him in the Premier League this season. So he's not a good manager. They won those 7 games and all the other 3 teams were relegated already below them. It's one of these ones of, Martinez actually had Vítor Pereira at Olympiacos, which is one of the other clubs he owns. So he's like, this is someone who knows how to put up with my particular brand of bullshit. Who he also sacked at Olympiacos.
So here's the thing, right? And I wanna just extend a hand to a group of people that I know are watching tonight. I want to reach out from my spiritual home with the socialist bisexual hippies of Brighton and reach all the way across England like some sort of giant Irishman and throw my hand out to the Forest fans. And I want to explain something to you. We don't hate your club because of you.
Yep.
We don't hate your club because you tried to sue your way into Europe. We hate your club because of your owner.
Yep.
Everyone hates your club because of your owner. Managers hate your club because of your owner. Players hate your club because of your owner. Fans of every other club were kind of cheering you on last year, if I'm honest. We kind of were loving seeing it. It's a fairy tale. You came up, you did great. We hate your owner, not you. Please, Nottingham Forest, organise some regime change. Topple the lunatic so we can all go back to quietly cheering you on again.
See, the flip side of this is, right, Marinakis as an owner has actually done very good for Nottingham Forest. Like when he bought them, they were in the doldrums down, lower end Championship. Under his watch, they have invested. They have come into the Premier League. They have invested heavily, got into Europe. But it's the other crap. It's the suing the referees. It was the public complaints against PGMOL on social media. It's the banning Gary Neville from the grounds because he said something they didn't like. It's the owner coming onto the pitch to go head to head with the manager. It's the suing UEFA, taking Crystal Palace to court because they won a fucking cup. Make your list of here. And if there's a football god, he sits there, throws two big fat fingers up and goes, you know what? Here's your just desserts. And I don't think, and I was listening to the Ben Foster podcast and he actually put it very well. He was like, Nottingham Forest are one of the most historically relevant clubs in English football.
Yeah.
They should be in the Premier League, but not one Premier League fan, not one football fan is going to shed a tear for them going into the Championship, probably including their own fan base.
And
probably a good chunk of them, yeah.
Like they've been in the Premier League, what, about 4 years now? Is this where they promoted maybe about 4 years ago?
Yep, 3 years.
Yeah. Three.
Yeah, so like they were like out of it for a long time. So yeah, it's sad to see Nottingham Forest going down, but yeah, it's great to see your band suffer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nuno to keep West Ham up, Forest to go down. That's now my call.
Would you like a little stat before we go poking around on other things? Just a little one.
Yes, please.
Because as one man goes out with his head bouncing along the grass like some sort of mad footballing Ned Stark, another man steps up and it's Vítor Pereira. And I'll be honest with you, the stats say that he is a worse manager than almost every other long-term Premier League manager. Barely worse than the despicable Marco Silva. But his points per match is 1 point. Yeah, Marco Silva's got shit stats since you guys came up, but we'll come back to that another time. 1.24 points per match for Pereira at Wolves across his 38 games. One full season, 1.2 points. He's short a full 15% on Dyche. 15% is 6-7 points at the end of the season. That's relegation territory on its own if you're in a good place.
Yeah.
So this just is not... I'd love to be wrong. I always want to see people do well because I'm a big squishy fucking marshmallow, but I don't think Pereira is the fix they need. I think Dyche left alone for a while to do his thing and accepting the reality that just because you flooded the place with money once and got into Europe does not make you Man City overnight. And it is the goal scorer problem. Okay, we all know who their top goal scorer is this season. No prizes for guessing. It's Morgan Gibbs-White. Do you know what the number is?
Like 5.
It's 6.
6.
It's 6 is their highest goal scorer, and there aren't a lads there on 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The ball doesn't go in the hole. Then if you're playing a defensive game, you take Dyche. You take Dyche all day long, and you play 12 at the back, and you stay the fuck up and keep all the money. But Pereira...
They've scored the second lowest amount of goals in the Premier League. No surprise is that it's Wolves who've scored less. So they've scored 25 goals so far this season, which... Burnley have scored more than them by 3, but not the point.
Yes, and when Wolves scored all their goals, who had just left?
Yep.
Like if you think about where Wolves were, I want to say first week in November, second week in November when Pereira went, Wolves were on 2 points. They were absolutely they were on course to finish the season in single digits. Now it's looked a little bit better for them. There was a little streak there at Christmas where they were putting it up to the people like Arsenal, but at least they're scoring goals. Pereira does neither. He's the worst of both worlds. He gives them shit defense and shit attack with no time to build a squad. There's nowhere to spend money. Like, this is an absolutely senseless move. And if you're going to make a senseless move, it better be like an out of left field. Grab Rossinier, see what happens. Bring in a Hertzler, see what happens. Get someone young and inexperienced and fucking take a punt, because you're sure as hell not going to get someone whose only experience is not delivering. I don't. They're so boned. Wolves Forest turnaround incoming next week because I've said that.
Do you know what I feel this is? This is a European hire. This is a let's go try to get as deep as we can in Europe, accept our fate in relegation, and that should give us enough money in the bank account that we can build onto it at the start. They've brought in a European manager to try to do a European season while accepting their fate in the Premier League.
Their conference this year, right?
Is it Europa?
Conference.
Yeah. No, they're conference. No, they're Europa because Crystal Palace got Europa for winning the cup, and then they got pushed down to the conference because Forest got the position from their league placement.
Yeah.
So Forest are not going to get far in Europa.
No.
Forest would have been much better off if they're doing the climb the ladder, make money in Europe thing, and staying in the fucking conference and maybe
his first game
it.
in charge is against Fenerbahce on Thursday night.
Oh well, that puts the end to that plan after 20 minutes.
Pretty much.
Like, it's just nonsense. Like, and Dermot had spoken here a few weeks back about, and I think we're guilty of it sometimes, is when things are going badly for a team or they have 2 or 3 bad weeks, we all start talking about, which manager's next. Not to go too human and point out that these are lads with jobs, because they all make enough money that they can go and scratch their arses for the rest of their lives if they want to. But
yes,
this situation at Forest of the like, just send in the next one, like helicopters at Chernobyl. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on, send in the next one. Fuck it, didn't work, throw them away. Like, will they have a 5th manager before the year is out? Because I think with Pereira they will.
I think there's actually a chance that they do. There's a part of me that says, and this is where you get these wild ones. Don't be surprised if you have a Chris Wood player manager for 3 games left of the Premier League season or something of that. Who's the oldest person in the dressing room that's not fit to play, and they have 2 games left of the season and they need to make up 3 points? You know, that kind of vibe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've seen it before with, like, you know, Sam Allardyce came in at Leeds with 3 games left to go to try to keep them up. We've had Alan Shearer come into Newcastle with 5 games left to keep them up. And with Marinakiss in charge, God only knows. So I would not be surprised to see something. I would not be surprised to see this fella get to game week 35, get the bullet, because they haven't picked up a point. They're 3 points off the relegation zone. It's like, what do we do now?
I don't think he gets that far. Actually, do you know what? Call it, boys. It's 26 now, right? We've just finished. We're about to finish 26. I'm going to say he's gone by 32.
So you think he's getting that? I'm going to say 35.
I don't know. I think that he'll probably get.
He'll see it out.
What is it? 30? Yeah, I think he'll see it out. Unfortunately, well, actually, draw 30, 36. Sorry, 38 is the so 34. If he was going to be sacked, I think it would be with 4 games to go. But it all depends as well on how poorly the other teams do as well.
Well, West Ham have a bit of form, which we will get into when we're talking about matchups in a bit.
Yeah.
But, speaking of, as I said, they've scored a shockingly low amount of goals. So, Nottingham Forest, best of luck in the Championship, you bag of fucking Greek dicks. Anyway, on to what I want. Yeah, I said what I said. I'm going to stand by it. So anyway, as we kind of got into there's been a lot of chatter this season about this is like the worst Premier League season ever, blah, 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 blah. We're not seeing goals anymore. VAR's ruining the game. It's chalking off goals. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. There's an element of truth. So let's get into some attacking numbers in the Premier League this season. I'm going to throw a stat at you, right? I'm going to throw a little stat out at you. So, Arsenal are on track to. If Arsenal continue scoring at the rate they're scoring at, they're going to score 73 league goals this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me when was the last time a Premier League champion scored less than that to win a Premier League title?
I know who it was.
08. Was it?
Was it 08?
It was 08, Manchester United.
And that we had, like Rooney, Ronaldo, that team, Tevez, or was Tevez a bit after?
No, Tevez was that year. Berbatov came in the following year. So it was Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, Saha. It was the attacking fulcrum there.
You also had nobody competing for the title.
You had Chelsea.
Nobody at all.
You had Chelsea.
It wasn't. Look, I get the feeling that the difference between now and then is that, again, as we've touched on before, there's far fewer easy games in the Premier League. So Arsenal's super strategic, play it safe, play for set pieces, get 1 or 2 up and shut it the fuck down thing. We saw that City 5 years ago. When you have fewer games where you can take risks, you take fewer risks. And
City
therefore you score
a record amount of goals that season that you're talking about, by the way. They're actually one of the...
Who did?
Yeah. That season that you're talking about where City would go a goal up and shut it down, they actually scored a record for the highest amount of goals in an individual season that year. In the treble.
Really?
And beating their own record for the Centurion season where they were the first team to break 100 points winning the title. So this is actually statistically going to be the Premier League title that has, if it keeps tracking the way it's tracking, where the last time a team won the league with this few points was Manchester United in 98, bypassing Arsenal and Newcastle, I believe, for the title. Or was it 97? In around that period of time, where they won it with 69 points. So it could be the lowest league points to win a title since the late 90s. It could be the lowest amount of goals scored since the mid-2000s. And in the mid-2000s, what I will say the difference in between the football then and now is now it's more of a team game, whereas back then, if you look at just list off some of the defenders who were at the peak of their powers in 08, you had like John Terry, you had Rio, you had Vidic, you had Ivanovic, you had, I think that was like peak defender era.
Iron Wall time. Iron Wall days.
Yeah.
And they were allowed to do more defensively.
Yes.
Yeah, they can actually put in hard tackles like the one could fucking done by VAR or whatever. Like, yeah.
But this is where, I think maybe this leans into maybe, Jimmy, as you said, there's a level now in the Premier League where there's the group of teams in the middle pack are better quality. So I'm going to throw out a couple of other little numbers at you because I went and did some research, as you might. I'm going to put this into an article. I'm going to put this into an article.
Can I do tactics next week if you're doing stats this week?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, let's do. You can take a tactics session.
What is a Gigian press?
Explain to me a Catencio.
What's a tiki-taka? Who does a low block?
Please.
What does a high press?
I want to throw the because I have my little notepad of stats and facts, right? So 1, Bruno's created 78 chances in the Premier League this year, which is 13 more than the next closest player to him in the top 5 leagues in Europe.
Jesus.
Let me think. Vinicius Jr. second.
Yeah, you're looking at the cream of the crop. You're looking at Michael Elise. You're looking at Harry Kane. You're looking at Vinicius. You're looking at, name your creators in France, Germany, Spain.
Big names. So he's unquestionably top in England, and that's why United are top of the league because they have such good strikers.
He's 20 odd clear in terms of chances created. In terms of assist stats, let's say he's got. I'm actually just going to bring that direct one up because I actually had it up there earlier. He has 12 Premier League assists so far this season. The next nearest to him is at 7, so he's nearly 50, just shy of 50%. Or sorry, 12-7. What's the math there? He's nearly doubled. He's nearly doubling the next closest player to him, and that's Ryan Jerky and Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
In terms of next up for assists, Mo Salah is on track to score his lowest amount of goals in a Premier League season since he played for fucking Chelsea.
I'm delighted he remembered how to score again this weekend. I'm delighted that I saw the best Liverpool performance all year because it was against Brighton and it broke my fucking heart.
Just wait for this, Jimmy. There's more. Last season, right? We had 12 teams who were averaging a goal a game through open play. Season to date, 8. So 4 less teams are scoring a goal a game on average from open play, which leads into set piece FC. Only Thiago and Haaland are on track to score over 20 Premier League goals this season. That's only happened once.
Thiago won't do it.
He
might get on track now, but he won't do it.
13. Who won't do it?
Thiago.
They're the only 2 that are actually
He's on
anyway on
goals.
Yeah, he's quite close.
It's still a stunningly low number.
Yeah.
But the last time
But
a
for a team like
winner was
Brentford,
awarded with under 20 goals was the 08-09 season when it was Nicholas Anelka with 19 goals.
Jesus.
And he was at Chelsea at the time. Like, this is how bad we're talking in terms of attacking output this year. And I have one more for you. The other way, so if we include penalties and all versions of set pieces, Chelsea, 48% of all of their goals have been scored through a set piece of some capacity. 38% for Arsenal. So we're looking at 40-odd% for both Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, it's a lot higher if you deduct penalties as a set piece, and Arsenal are way out in front in terms of I think it's 50% of their goals would be considered active play, aka the first or second phase of the set piece. So it's really shifted from last year. Like, it's shifted hard.
I'd say throw-ins have kind of have a lot to do with that. Because you have players going down the wing now, not only trying to get the ball out for a corner, but also getting the ball deflected out for a throw-in, rather than putting in genuine actual crosses into the box. But yeah, kind of at the start of the season, I actually didn't mind the whole throw-in thing, and I'd say I don't really mind it now either. It's just
I don't mind a lot
of it.
Different. I don't mind a lot of it, but what I've definitely started to notice is, and Dean, you'll be more able to talk about this. Do you remember even 4 or 5 years ago, wingers, and it wasn't get to the byline, cut back. There was creativity. You had like a Hatem Ben Arfa. These players don't exist. It's become so system regimented.
Because even fucking taking the game has actually slowed down a bit as well. Because even when they're taking throw-ins into the box, the game slows down for 10, 12 seconds, same way as it would for a corner. So the fucking defenders and attackers can organise themselves in the box, and it really does slow down the game a bit, alright. But it's a bit of a change, I suppose. But yeah, like you were saying, John, I mean, it's like what Saka would have been doing a couple of years ago would have been being a bit more creative, getting in around the box.
5 goals in a calendar year for Saka, by the way.
Yeah.
5 goals in a calendar year.
I think his job this season is basically get corners and throw-ins. That's just what I tell you. Hit the ball up the defender and get it out for a corner or a throw-in. Yeah. And Joe take penalties as well when we had it, but yeah.
So who wants to hear about a weird ass stat that I cooked up?
Please.
If we're talking about attacking, right? It's the price of points, gentlemen. It is the price of points for teams in terms of the goals they pay for them. There are 2 teams that are massive outliers this year, right? One of them sits in 3rd place. Aston Villa's 37 goals have got them 50 points, right? They're buying their games real cheap. They're getting their draws at 0-0. If they take a loss, they'll let a few in. But when they win, it's a 1-0. It's very efficient, very good economics. It's 1.3 points per goal, right? Which is the 2nd highest in the league, and has a team on less than 40 points after 26 games, logically speaking, should not be in 3rd place. But Villa have been very, very good at the economy there. The best team for economics, if anybody wants to have a stab on 1.5, absolutely right and correct, sir. Gold star for you. Sunderland have 36 points from 27 goals, so just over 1.33 there. Villa, though, for it to be possible to sit in 3rd like that is ridiculous.
Well, it's definitely, we mentioned this earlier on in the year when we were looking at passing trends, we were looking at the purchasing of the height profiles of different players being purchased into the Premier League. And it really kind of pointed towards a shift in, instead of trying to play through a press, play over the press. Very much kind of almost harking back to a Jose Mourinho era of, Jose Mourinho didn't buy short lads. He bought Essien, he bought Drogba, he brought Ivanovic. His thing was, if I can have 2 fellas that can both play football, and one's 5'8" and the other's 6'2", guess which one I'm picking, because they have physical attributes that they can bring to the table. And the Premier League seems to have really shifted. This is probably the most dramatic shift I've seen in the Premier League era, in terms of just, it's almost like tiki-taka at the end of last season went, shut that shit down.
Yeah.
What's our bet? System.
Don't forget,
it's all about system, regimen, system.
It's a structural thing, right? There's no doubt in my mind it's a discipline thing. This Villa thing and the Sunderland thing are all about, how much time do we have to spend attacking to get the shot created? How many shots does it take to score? And then shut it the fuck down, right? I get that. But if you look at the actual strikers, and we touched on this a couple of weeks ago. We didn't do a deep dive. I'm not going to do one now. But the big lad out front is not the man bringing home the goals. I think we're edging closer to a kind of a semicircle formation without a target man at all. Because what they're doing is they're drawing away defenders, but the defenders are still keeping the fucking goals out. I mean, the numbers are there. It's not working.
You're right and wrong at the same time there, Jimmy. So what the big striker is actually doing is like pinning the centre-back to allow... Yeah. So 10 years ago, football was still very... a little bit longer than that. Early 2000s, football was still 4-4-2. When Ferguson brought in Varane and switched to a 4-3-3, Man United had their 2 worst seasons in the Premier League under him, trying to play a 4-3-3 in England. To get... Yeah, they were third 2 years on the trot, then went back to a four-man
Wouldn't they like that now?
Yeah, went to a 4-man midfield, and then they won. But definitely, like, Mourinho was actually the one who brought in, like, essentially the 4-3-3 static with the Cloud Makelele role at the time. And formations have gone from that to being very fluid to almost being fluid and 5 years ago, you didn't hear formation and transition. This is very much a term that's happened over the last 2 years, that when we're attacking, we play a 3-5 or 3-4-3. When we're defending, we play a 5-3-2. When we're in the mid of the transition, it's a 4-4-2. So teams are now practicing different formations for different parts of the game, which wasn't even a thing 18 months ago. So it's become so system regimented that if you're like Dean, give me who was one of the wildest bastards I remember seeing in the Premier League. Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez doesn't survive in this type of football. Dimitar Berbatov does not survive in this type of football.
David Luiz. No sense of position whatsoever.
He's probably perfect for the defender who will step out into midfield to create your double box.
Yeah.
He was the centre-back who wouldn't stay in the centre-back line. So if you went, we have that who likes to come out with the football, like what John Stones did last year for Man City, step out and become the extra midfielder and the other defenders drop. But that wasn't how football was played then. So it's become so tactical, become so regimented, it's become so nullify your opponent first rather than find a way to beat them first. It's almost like Jose Mourinho. I've said it before. It's almost like the Jose Mourinho thing of rather than find a way to win, let's find a way to kill them first.
Yeah.
That makes.
I mean, you see it.
And that's where the sort of counter-attacking comes from as well. It's like rather than just being like so attacking, like United, you were saying it yourself, John. It's like win without the ball. Fucking don't like beat them necessarily by being like City, who have like 80% possession against small teams, but fucking with the small amount of time that you do with the ball, do something with it.
Actually, I've actually 2 stats based on that exact sentence. The first one, Man United, when they played Arsenal, 42% possession. When they played City, 40% or 38 to 40% possession. When they played Fulham, 40% possession. Before the sending off in the Spurs game, 42% possession, went up to 60 after the red card. So the first game of Carrick Lane where they had over 50% of the ball is the first one they dropped points in.
And what about West Ham? I'm pretty sure.
And the other one was about Man City. So in the space of 2 years, they have gone from averaging... So this was a pressing stat. So 2 years ago, an opponent got 6 passes on average before a press from City. It's actually increased to 11.
Wow.
So City are actually happier now than they were 2 years ago to let a team have a football, as you said about the counter press. Draw them in. Let them. You're doing nothing dangerous there. You can ticky-tacky across your back line. And the second you come into our defence, we're going to take it and spring, which you can see by players like Doku, like Semenyo, like, those fellas actually becoming relevant in a City setup now. So football is so dramatically changed this year. Even if you said last year that Pep Guardiola was going to play 40% more long passes than he did last season, who would have believed that?
Yeah, it's not like Haaland was new. They just changed up how they were using him. And Jesus, it's gone dry a little bit lately, but it's still working.
He's bollocks.
They're in second, mate. It's 4 points now. 4 points, is that right? 3 points?
Yeah,
4 points?
City are going to win the league.
I'm terrified of City in April and May. And anybody who doesn't get scared of them in the last 2 months of the season when everybody else is knackered just hasn't been paying attention. Like 10 years they're at this.
Jimmy, you'll find this tidbit interesting. And Dean, this is one to pay attention to for the next few weeks. When Arsenal play first, what happens in a match week?
The
half 12.
When Arsenal play before City in a match week, they win. When Man City play first in a match week, Arsenal can't.
What sort of voodoo stat is this?
This is the truth. If you actually look at it since the turn of the year, every time City play first, so if City win, Arsenal draw. If City draw, Arsenal have drawn or lost. So any of the weeks where Arsenal have dropped points, it's actually coinciding with Man City being the first. Remember the psychological element I was talking about 2 weeks ago of going, you don't want a pep team sniffing up your arse. It's that psychological thing of, we know what they've put on the board, we need to match it or better. So it's that extra psychological layer of pressure. Whereas when they have their swing first in a match weekend, they just go out and clean the shop.
Well, I mean, they've got Spurs on Sunday, and City have got Newcastle on Saturday. So
there you go.
Interesting. Will this hold off? I kind of love this theory because I think
this is how it's gone since January, since the start of the year. Essentially, when Man City play first, Arsenal. What's happening there is right. City get a draw. Arsenal going out onto the pitch knowing we need a draw or better, and it's that extra. It's a small psychological shift.
Yeah.
It's probably not even something they're talking about in the room, but
but
when they play first, they just put their points on the board and go to City here.
That could only be one thing. I think after almost 2 years of the most critical, scathing, and righteous abuse in the world from us, Mikel Arteta is finally breaking. I think it's your fault, John. I think you did this. I think you're going to give City the league. Why would you do that, man?
Because football needs saving from sad NFL-style football.
And City are the answer?
115 charges of cheating. At least you can slap them on the wrist.
Alleged. Alleged.
I do love alleged.
I'd like to push City off one. Shall we have a look at next weekend, boys?
I think so. I think that's enough on the attack. There's some nice attacking stats there. And if you're someone who's looking at players that you're going to pick up, right, I think it would be worthwhile looking at who is the set piece takers and who are the set piece receivers for each of the clubs if you're looking at the assets for the next 10, 12 weeks when things are starting to get hairy, Larry in a bit.
And play a 4-5-1. Always play a 4-5-1.
Midfield.
Always. Yep, midfield.
Yep. Midfield.
Good bruiser midfielders.
Talk to me. So, right, we're going to look. Game week 26 is not finished yet. Arsenal have to put a game in hand on City because they play Wolves this week. But that's because City are also going to have a double game week in 2 weeks' time after the Carabao Cup final. So, Gucci, whatever. But game week 27. So, we're not really going to look at the Arsenal Wolves game because it's still this match week. And by the time you hear this, that game is probably done. But let me rattle through the Saturday matches and we'll pick out our highlights. I'll let you pick out your highlight games. Aston Villa versus Leeds, Brentford
1-0.
versus
1-0
to someone. Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Burnley, West Ham, Bournemouth, and Man City, Newcastle. On Sunday, we've got Palace, Wolves. We've got Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Sunderland
1-0
versus Fulham, Spurs versus Arsenal in the North London Derby, and Everton versus Manchester United Monday Night Football. So, right, where do we want to start with that? We just go
top to bottom. Villa beat Leeds because Leeds are dangerous at home and they're dangerous at night, and this game is neither. And Villa are on great form. It'll be entertaining, and I think Leeds backs and midfielders are the ones to watch there. DCL seems to be injured or just not doing anything.
In and out. He's still getting hits, but this is the Dominic Calvert-Lewin thing of he's made a cheese, so they have to rotate him in. But he will play this weekend because is it Okafor got injured midweek last week, or is it Ncheka? Whichever one of those two boys got injured, and one of them got injured, so it'll be the other one in Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top this weekend.
And at the other side of the pitch, pick anyone in the middle. Anyone. Especially Morgan Rogers, but any Villa midfielder, any Villa defensive midfielder, any Villa centre back. Tyrone Mings is starting to pop his giant head up again. Love to see it, by the way. A player I've always been a big fan of, but he's like Villa straight through that core. The boys out in the wing are heavily rotated and quite patchy. Even Luca Dini, I know he's having his good season, but the points are just up and down like a horse knickers. Out on the wings.
Surely Morgan Rogers.
Rogers is the safest bet.
Yeah, Rogers out. Tielemans. McGuinness still out, isn't he? He's out.
Tielemans is out. Douglas Luiz was brought in to be Tielemans.
Luiz isn't full strength yet, though. Once he gets there, he's big up, but he's not full strength. Emi Martinez.
Malin.
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from an Aston Villa side.
There's one for Emi Martinez. He's actually the only goalkeeper in the Premier League who's actually currently saving. What was it? I remember seeing this stat earlier, and I was like, "That's fascinating." Only goalkeeper in the Premier League whose XG against is higher than his performance, or something like that. Anyway, whatever. I'm butchering the stat. He's basically outperforming what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, with the number of shots going against him, I would imagine. Yeah, but he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. Like, there's no getting past him. So I'm going to say Villa. I'm going to say pick anyone you want in the Villa team, and maybe I don't know, Leeds backs. Who do we like at the back for Leeds?
Stash, James Justin.
Stash, yeah.
Those two are the standouts for me.
Stash.
James Justin has actually been picking up a few points lately. Aronson's rotated in and out. James Justin's guaranteed to start. Bijal's guaranteed to start. Woodmanson's guaranteed to start. Stash is guaranteed to start. So for me, it's Stash and James Justin. So even they're the ones picking up the points generally. But yeah, I think that's a Villa win. But Jimmy, you're going to get sad by this. Brentford are going to do terrible things to Brighton. It's Brentford at home to Brighton at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Dean, I saw the smile. Talk to me.
Yeah, Brighton are just in really good form, aren't they? And Brighton, or sorry, not Brighton. Brentford are in really good form. Brighton are in desperate form. I think this is Brentford written all over it, and their surge for the Champions League spots continues.
Yeah, I mean, look, I before I go on to
Champions League, but Europa League. Sorry, but you get
Keith Andrews for manager of the season, having done what he's done with what he's got. If you were to stop the count right now, I think he's genuinely contender for manager of the season, and that's not just G waiting to try.
Regardless of whatever happens, even if Mikel Arteta will get it if they win the Premier League, but Brentford having sold what they sold in the summer and including their long-term manager going, Keith Andrews, to get them in a position where they'll start when they get a result against Brighton, they're going to start Sunday above Liverpool.
So on Brighton, before you write them off, right? I will say yes, things are bad. Right, we're relying on a core of players in their mid-30s, including James Milner, who's still showing up just in time to lose games, even though he's got his record now. Lovely guy, we all love him, but seriously. New acquisitions are not firing this year, with the exception of Freddie Kadioglu, who's been absolutely electric, but even he was put in Mo Salah's little pocket during the cup match. I'm not going to get into the whole Hertzler out thing, but there it is, I said it out loud. There is a growing clamour in Brighton circles for their manager to be booted. I don't necessarily think that's fair. I'm not one to call for blood, but I don't think it solves the problem either. It's Brentford this week. I hate to say it, but I can't see Brighton winning.
No, and actually, I actually saw a very interesting thing from Tony Bloom, the owner. There was a fan who wrote to him on social media, and he actually put a lovely message back out. He was like, the club is around 130 years, 126 of them they didn't play in the Premier League. Progress isn't always linear.
I mean,
that was essentially in their history.
Not, but at the same time, you know, when there's a kind of a frantic, furious, data-driven transfer market going on, and it stops working, like all of the like, there's stories about players being signed without being visually scouted. Like, that's insane. That is fucking insane. Nobody in the world loves data more than I do. Nobody in the world likes the idea of pick your players without watching football. I did it with you guys for 10 years. That's where our league came from, was me not watching football. But I also don't run a Premier League team. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be offered the Forest job before the year's out. So I'm updating my CV. But the Brighton thing isn't working at the moment. Maybe it comes good. There's still a third of the season. Maybe some of the Greeks start to show up a bit more than they have been. Maybe Weaver starts to actually fucking run. But I'm not holding my breath.
Pascal Gross back in January said that there was an issue with standards in the dressing room. That screams an issue with standards in the dressing room, that you're relying on Pascal Gross and Danny Welbeck to essentially get here a level in the dressing room. I think the Hertzler thing I'm not against, I'm not for necessarily. I get the idea of the out of the manager, but I think this, we've said this before, when you're a team that sells your best players year on year, eventually it does come home to roost. If you have one bad summer of recruitment where you don't have majority of them 8 out of 10 hitting the ground running, this is what happens. It can be worse.
And then you get distractions. Like, you have players from last year who were absolutely stellar, like Baleba, who just, his head was not in it after the United rumours at the start of the season. Mitoma, not a transfer issue. There were some questions, and one of these days he will go to a big boy club. But after the injury, he's still, like, we've been making excuses for like 4 weeks now. Like, oh, he's not really back. Oh, he's not really back. But maybe this is it. Maybe this is as back as he gets on that team. But this is making me upset, so let's insult Chelsea fans.
So yeah, Brentford are going to win, but the asset there, just quickly, asset Brentford, Thiago.
Thiago, Damsgaard. Yeah, Thiago, Damsgaard, maybe.
Damsgaard shining the last few weeks as well, yeah.
Any of those three.
I don't see Brighton goals because we keep our strikers off the pitch until the last 20 minutes.
And if you do get a nice clean sheet, go pick up Queeve and Callagher, because I would say between him and Roofs for the goalkeeper of the year, in my opinion.
And one to be careful with at the moment. It's a man that we're always very loud about. I love how Irish we get to go when it's Brentford. Like, it's just basically, a little corner. Be careful with Collins because he hasn't been playing for the last couple of weeks. Not sure what the situation there is. I don't know if it's an injury. I think he's just dropped/rested ahead of international. Maybe.
No. He is the club captain, so he's not playing because of the head.
Yeah. It must be some sort of quiet injury. But look, just if you have him normally, if you're jumping into fantasy football now, having not paid attention for a few weeks because it's a quiet time of the year, he's one that's going to be sitting there. If you're going to drop him, now might be a good time to flog him to one of your mates who might go, oh, Nathan Collins, oh, he's one of the best lads. I was saying he's one of the best. He's not playing. You might make a bit of a steal there. Maybe. But it's fun.
Chelsea Burnley, I love the idea of this because you have Liam Rossinier, the LinkedIn manager, and you have Scott Parker, who is essentially Mike Skinner from the streets. Have you seen the videos of Scott Parker with the streets music layered behind him?
No.
Oh, lads, I'm going to send you a YouTube clip after, and it's literally Scott Parker doing any general interview with the soundtrack from Dry Your Eyes, Mate in the background, and it works so well. And I just want to go back to your family, and if you're not on every week, and it's just
do you want to know my favorite one of those? It's not technically football, but my favorite one of those is gobshite and all-round wanker, and I've been saying it for years, Russell Brand. You can finish every sentence Russell Brand says with one word. Park life.
Oh, there's a brilliant one with Che Adams? There was the Southampton striker a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually one of those. We're in the best league in the world, and it's Park life. I'm going to send you the two of these after because they've brought so much joy. But yeah, Chelsea are going to steamroll Burnley, and the fact that Scott Parker's still employed. This is the one sacking I had high up on the radar at the start of the year, and I'm shocked they haven't. They're going down with a whimper, and Chelsea are going to steamroll them. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
it's not the worst season they've had in the Premier League. No, it is, isn't it?
From bottom on 15 points.
That's where they live. They're boing.
Dean, talk to me. Good you.
Yeah, Chelsea are in decent form. I know they conceded 2 against Leeds fucking last week, but Palmer's starting to score a bit more. Joe Pedro's scoring. Enzo Fernandez is getting the odd goal and assist. And then their defense, Kukurea, like I said, his friend had 2 last week, but Kukurea, I think, scored or got an assist a couple of weeks ago. So it's plenty to choose from Chelsea.
It's 2 P's for me. It's Palmer Pedro.
Yeah, I think so.
It's that combo.
My only worry about Palmer is, as you touched on earlier, if there are no penalties, he's not scoring the same volume as Pedro. I think it's Pedro.
Yeah, I think still Pedro for scoring goals. Yeah,
or Estevao.
It's the problem with the other players in that thing, right? Because it's Burnley, right? They could go Neto and Garnacho. They could go Gittins and Estevao. They could go Delap. It's any mix and
rotation.
Match. It's any mix and match on those, especially because they will be playing in Europe before that.
I think that's it. Their second tier are about to see a lot more action this week. I think this is don't put your big boy this is nap time for the big boys. Is home to Burnley. This is going to be.
I think and under Maresca, this is the kind of game where they would have got a red card and screwed the pooch on it. Under Rosinier, and this is what we touched on, the red cards at Chelsea have dried up since they got a manager who's not nuts.
Yeah.
He's a lot more chill. I don't think he's the best manager. He's pure middle manager vibes, if you get me, which seems to suit that Chelsea team because they're run from the boardroom anyway. So Chelsea, Pedro is the asset, and any Chelsea defender who's on the pitch. So
and no Burnley players.
Right in Kukurea. I'd say you're right in Kukurea. Pick that up. He's going to be.
You know what? I smell a Burnley park the bus, Chalobah's giant head from a corner moment. I think this is a Chalobah week, maybe. There are good weeks and bad weeks, but it's that kind of many set pieces into the box. Burnley sit back and try and salvage, I think it's a chat of the week.
Cool.
The more I think about it. But anyway, West Ham. Do we like West Ham next week?
Dean had something before we jump.
Oh,
I'm going to stick with Fernandez. I think. Something I don't know. Something about him that I just like. I know that I should probably go with Pedro in terms of just goal scoring and Palmer with the penalties and stuff. But yeah, I just fancy Enzo this week. I think it's gonna do something.
West Ham, Bournemouth.
West Ham.
The
form is unbelievable. Bournemouth are leaky as fuck at the back. West Ham with their fans behind them.
West Ham's form, or Bournemouth's form, has really turned since they went 13 games with no result. They're 2 draws and 3 wins in their last 5. Ryan has come in and hit the ground running. Adley and Krupi, between the 3 of them, are doing bits. The only thing is, as you said, West Ham, Crescencio, Somerville, Castellas, Pepe, Pablo, and Bowen, obviously Bowen. Between the 4 of them, West Ham suddenly have firepower. So
I think the reason I'm calling this West Ham is, yes, Bournemouth have great form as well. Bournemouth have a whole load of exciting new attacking assets, as West Ham do. I just think that the West Ham fans have been so absent, and I'm not criticizing them, like walking out at halftime in protest. Things were really, really shit and they weren't happy. I think the West Ham fan base is pretty fucking feral, and visiting West Ham used to be a terrifying prospect. I think it will be again this weekend because they're on a bit of a crest. I think that high scoring win for West Ham. The guys you named, yes, but most of all, Somerville. Bowen has slowed down slightly. Yeah, it's the attacking mids. Yeah, Somerville and Ryan.
Ryan, even though Adley is actually, and Krupi are the ones who are slightly doing more, I think Ryan has just come in and hit the ground so hard. I think this is the kind of game where he announces himself as Semenyo's successor. And on the flip side, Somerville's form. And the Bowen thing is, because they now have Castellas and Pablo, he doesn't need to be the 9. He's able to help them out elsewhere in the pitch where they've had problems. So he's still a good all-round asset in a Statter side, but on an FPL side, leave him the fuck alone and get yourself Somerville or Ryan. Man City, Newcastle. Man City at home to Newcastle. Now this goes Saturday night, Man City, day before the North London derby for Arsenal. I think it's a really
it'll be a good game.
I'm surprised that someone from London does such a bad London accent sometimes, but that's okay. I love you anyway. I'm going to say Semenyo. I don't know who's going to win the game, but I'm going to say Semenyo.
Yeah,
because Haaland is peaks and troughs. Gahey, I would normally be steering towards Gahey because he's a really, really active defender, unlike the way Ruben Diaz has been all year. But Semenyo has shown himself really, really consistent. The move has gone way better for them than I thought.
Newcastle are away. Newcastle don't win games of football away. City are going to win this on cruise. Did you see them against Fulham last week? I know, again, it's Fulham, but actually, Man City and Fulham have the weirdest record between them. It's the longest losing run in English football, Fulham against City. It goes back to Pellegrini, 20 games on the trot. But they were 3-0 up after 30 minutes, and they went in, and they came out and blitzed. They just went, right, we had a long game last week against Liverpool, and I think that Liverpool game, winning it in the fashion they did, closing the gap to the 4 points at that moment in time, I think that gave that dressing room the let's go get this shit done.
Sure.
And they went out and they won their game in cruise control. They went out in the FA Cup the weekend with the second string, Salford, whatever, won that game in cruise control and gave the big boys a weekend off to go and get, Haaland got a weekend off for the first time all year.
Can I throw something at you for anybody who's not looking at the shiny stars of City players this week? Because I do agree. I think Newcastle away, just one win against Spurs doesn't change the problem there. But a game like this is where the midfield grafters are most valuable for Newcastle, and one of them is not going to be playing. Bruno Gomes off the pitch this week. If you don't pick up Tonali this week, you have not been paying attention, because he's going to be a busy, busy little boy. Even if they lose, Tonali gives it 110 every week. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from him this year. Newcastle's midfield in general, but this is one of those ones where I think the highest scoring player in terms of statistical contribution will be on the losing team. It's Sandro.
Yeah, I can't see past Semenyo and Haaland against Newcastle at home. It's just the Saturday night kickoff, put pressure on Arsenal, put the score on the board, and go, now match us, bitches. when they're about to play a North London derby the next day.
Yeah.
I can't see anything else. That's just.
I'm kind of with Jimmy in that I probably stay away from Haaland for now, just because again he's just has been not doing much. But Semenyo,
three goals in his last 3 games, though. Not bad for a fella out of form.
Yeah, and I suppose Bruno Gummi's not there either. But yes,
you're not going to get him in a draft.
No.
Yeah, no, you won't.
No one's going to trade him away. If you haven't bought him next door, you can't afford him now.
Yeah.
This isn't the week to bring him in. If you're going for Haaland and you haven't got him, you're going all in. You're talking about probably using 2 or 3 transfers to fucking fund him. And if you're going to do that, Newcastle isn't the team you wasted on. You wait for one of the DGWs in a couple of weeks' time, stick a TC on him, get your money's worth.
I get that. That's fair. Sunday's games, Palace Wolves.
God, what a shit game.
Who cares?
A disaster on both sides.
Will they both lose, maybe?
Hope so.
Wolves are in a bit getting a bit decent form. I'll give it to Wolves. Maybe. Actually, no, they lost Strand Larson as well. Actually, 2 Palace, right? Actually, yeah. Palace will beat
Larson back against his old club as well.
Yeah. Sorry.
Dean Henderson is the asset for me. Screaming Dean Henderson as the asset for me there.
Clean sheet all day long there.
Nobody else knows where anything else is happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mitchell back?
It's going to be a misery 0-0 draw. Nottingham Forest, the managerless new manager up against Slot.
Slot can't win this fucking game. If there's ever a fucking team that's been on their knees, like surely it has to be Forest at the moment. Slot have to win, surely, will they?
Yeah.
Slot. Liverpool
is out, I believe, isn't he? He got a ban from his red card in the last game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
The wild ban.
Yeah, strange one. So Liverpool.
Not strange. It's completely fine.
That's
exactly what had to happen.
God, Wirtz, I suppose. Yeah, Wirtz is kind of getting on a bit of form.
It's Wirtz and Ekitike, isn't it? It's pick up one of the 2 of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on, Jimmy.
Maybe.
Big Virgil.
No,
Virgil. Virgil is to me, he is like an old car on a winter's morning. It took him a while to get warmed up this season, and we fucking slated him, and he keeps getting better and better as the season goes on.
Gave away 2 goals against Bournemouth 3 weeks ago. Stop.
That's the past, John. You're living in the past. Listen, Forest have no way to score against Liverpool.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Tie 2 men on Morgan Gibbs-White. What else have Forest got? Fuck and all.
I suppose Virgil van Dijk's a nice bet. The only thing is Liverpool have no right back.
Everyone at Liverpool's a right back. Curtis Jones is a right back. Soboslai's a right back.
Soboslai is out. Frimpong is out.
Bradley's out.
So
Endo?
It's going to be Endo is also out, I believe.
It's Curtis Jones, so.
Yeah, Endo got injured in the last game, so the only option is Curtis Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Shame, because he's absolutely fucking electric when he can get forward. He's got it all. Right foot, left foot. He can play right back, right mid. Best player.
Options for me, I think there.
Yeah.
Isn't it nobody for Forest anyway?
Maybe Gakpo as well. Gakpo because Zaflai's out. Maybe Gakpo start.
You have the game of the weekend then, Sunderland at home to Fulham.
Game of the week for who?
It's a miserable draw. It's a miserable game of football.
I'd give that to Fulham. I'd give that to Fulham, to be honest with you.
Sunderland have lost their unbeaten record at home now.
Yeah, it may all collapse.
To stay in the league. I think that slides.
So this is 2 teams that I spotted something with, right? Both of these teams have, for all of, we came into the season and there were some big names that we talked about and wrote about at Fulham, and there was Iwobi and there was Robinson, and it hasn't really been there stats-wise for either of them. But both Sunderland and Fulham had an absolute, you must get him, beg, borrow, or steal midfielder. Neither of them is working at the moment. Granit Xhaka is watching games on TV for the rest of the season, I believe. And Harry Wilson has gone very quiet of late. Very, very quiet. So I genuinely don't know who you take in this. I think Fulham win.
Quiet. He went quiet 2 weeks before the window when there was moves to Newcastle and Everton on the horizon and didn't want to get injured. He's going to be back on form from this week on. Windows closed. They're back playing in the league.
Windows closed 3 weeks.
Rodrigo Muniz is back from injury, so it means Jimenez isn't going to be up front. They're actually going to have someone who can run up front, so he's back.
Yeah, but Jimenez can finish, if nothing else.
Jimenez can finish as long as he plays less than an hour of football, because the game against Everton, if you saw it, there was one where he got through on goal 1-on-1 and his hole was falling out. He was gassed. He couldn't finish the ball because he was genuinely panting at about the 70. He's 34. He's been playing every minute of every game since, because they didn't buy a forward. when they had the option to do so. They didn't buy one in January, but I think this is one of these ones where I see Kevin being the asset to look at here. He's picked up a little run of form in the last couple of weeks. All the attention is going to be on Harry Wilson over the other side of the pitch. Sunderland have lost their home record in terms of unbeaten. They were the only team unbeaten until a week ago. They're on the level of points now to do it. They're missing Granit Xhaka. I just think they're going to start sliding backwards. And this is their best chance. It's probably going to be a draw. It's probably going to be a score draw. But my heart is telling me lean just slightly towards Fulham, and Kevin is the sneaky pick asset there.
I hate agreeing with you, but I do think Fulham win. I don't have an asset for this game.
Yeah, I think maybe
Sadar Mukiele at the back for Sunderland.
Or Lafay.
Yeah, it's one of them. The North London derby, Spurs at home versus Arsenal. I'm going to go big balls out here. Spurs have a new manager. His name is Igor Tudor. He played in Italy his whole career. He's Croatian. He is very much schooled in the Italian house of football. He has done a lot of jobs over the last year, 6 months here, 7 months there, 10 games here, 12 games here. He's been very much a firefighter type of manager. This is defensive. Defend like your heart depends on it. And there's something that says to me, Spurs' shocking home form. Here's an opportunity for you to put the screw in the wheel of the Arsenal bus. If you're ever going to have the opportunity to ruin your neighbours, have a new manager bounce. There's so many weird. Remember the way I said a few weeks ago, Carrick, he was going to win his games against City and Arsenal, and I had no doubt about it. I have the same feeling about this, where the new manager, they can get away with 18-yard box defending for the day and try to get Solanke and Tell on the turn.
I mean, that has to be the game plan. It has to be the game plan, is sort the fucking defense. But honestly, Jay, I love the poetry. I love the fairy tale of it. I love the optimism of it. They're going to get fucking destroyed. They're going to get absolutely massacred. I think it's going to be a high-scoring win for Arsenal. And I think I'm going to say, because there's so much rotating going on there in the kind of front half, and because there's so many backs, and because this is a 25-man squad that seems to have 30 good players on it, I'm going to say play very, very safe and pick Declan Rice. It's that simple. There will be goals from the Arsenal side. Declan Rice is still the
asset either way. Declan Rice, but I'm going to go with. I can't believe I'm saying this, considering how many players.
Oh no! Don't say it.
Don't say what.
You're not going to say Raya.
No, with Dom Solanke.
Oh, you think he's going to do something?
I think Dom Solanke's going to do something. He's got a couple of goals since he's come back from injury. He's their best fucking chance, and I think the way this team is going to set up at the weekend is going to be a 5-man defense, 2 quick wingers, and get the ball into him in an isolated area against Mascara and Cape, and try get Dom Solanke moving. So
how's their DM depth at the moment? Because you could see a double DM full-on defensive. Polinia's back. I think they'll play 6 to back, mate. I think they will go
Polina
absolute
has most tackles in the Premier League again this year, by the way.
Not surprised. Great player. Great grafter.
Can't pass the ball for life. So that game plan is going to be him tackle, give it to Conor Gallagher, and let him try to pass it to somebody competent of football. There's something that says, anyway, who cares? Look, Declan Rice is the asset, and whatever way that game goes, I just really hope for the Premier League team that we're going to see a 1-point swing match week. And Everton, Manchester United on Monday night at New Goodison, as I'm going to call it, because I don't remember.
So statistically speaking, there have been collapses this season, but there's been nothing like the Everton midfield. First 8-10 weeks of the season, we were screaming about 3G spots, Garner, Gaia, and Grealish. Yep. Not a lot to shout about since. Firepower has dissolved. Goal returns have dissolved. Attacking returns have dissolved. Defensive actions have dissolved. I mean, it's still Garner for passes and pass completion and being a good pivot. They're 8th, but they're 8th off no goals and fuck all wins. like Villa, like
English
Sunderland,
no,
Manchester United, they're the next one down. That's that we were talking about earlier. Economy of points. Everton are next after Sunderland and Villa for doing the least and getting the most back. So you're not going to see any high scores from their side. You know? But United, that's a different story.
Yeah, I can just see this being. I don't know. I think this just kind of has a draw written all over it. United haven't played a game in. It'll probably be nearly 2.5 weeks at that point. Everton were in the FA Cup this weekend, weren't they? Did they win?
I think that's actually going to stand to Manchester United, that they're going to have a chance to sit down and look at why they can't break down teams with a low block. Sesko's going to start. Sesko's going to score, and the assets there are Sesko and Bruno.
Okay.
I will once again say, I mean, we say Bruno every week. We say Bruno every 10 minutes. I'm still going to stick with Mbeumo because he keeps on getting better.
Ahmed is going to come out with the team. Listen to me on this. Ahmed is going to come out with the team. Mbeumo is going to move to the right, and they're going to play Sesko. Because if you're going to play a team against a low block, your best option is to have the big bastard in the box to go toe to toe with Tarkowski. Ahmed has no goals or assists since he's come back from AFCON. And Mbeumo is going to move to the right, and Sesko is going to go up top. So Sesko and Bruno are the assets.
Dino, is there anything to be had from the Manchester United defence playing away?
Luke Shaw?
John is twitching, but nobody can hear what he's saying.
It's Luke Shaw.
Oh, God. You look like him.
No, yeah, but no, he's actually the only outfield Manchester United player who started every game this season, by the way.
Oh, wow. Fair play to him because he's been through a lot and he's 30 years old now.
Most minutes of any outfielder at Manchester United this season. Only outfielder who started every Premier League game this season. Luke Shaw.
Wow. Fair play to him.
Okay. Shocker, but okay. But would you pick him?
Based on that,
maybe you could pick him, but also
we're 10 games away from a World Cup. Luke Shaw comes to play when it comes to getting a cap for England. Luke Shaw's about to hit his Roberto Carlos here in the next 6 weeks to get his seat on that plane.
Yeah.
Is there anything to be said for Dallo? Anything for Dorgu? Oh no, he's injured, isn't he?
Dorgu's injured. Maguire and Shaw are the ones you want.
Mm-hmm. Really? And Lamens if you look for a keeper, maybe.
No, you're not. It's Maguire and it's Shaw if you want a defender, but you don't. Mm-hmm. So if it's any, it's Shaw. But yeah, I think love that.
I love that we're talking about a team who are playing against a team who can't score, and we're still going, don't pick their defenders because it's United. I think that's us for tonight. We've got a bumper length look at next week's fixtures. Hope we all had fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's us. Oh, you can.
Jimmy, where can they find out all this information?
Yeah, you can keep up with what we're doing anywhere that you follow anyone apart from home. We're on the TikToks, which John is very, very good at. John, he takes his whole fucking Saturday. Well, after he's stuffed his fat face, he goes and takes his whole rest of his Saturday and streams live while the football's on. And there's a great little community over there. So that's the place to be Saturday afternoons. If you want to follow us, we are on Spotify, we're on the YouTubes, we're everywhere. Everywhere you follow things, everybody says all of the follow us.
And I will leave you on this. We're now also on a brand new platform called Striver, which is co-owned by Gilberto Silva, Roberto Carlos, and Harry Maguire.
And more on that
I've met before Team Chase. We're available on that platform now. But anyway, on that, peace out. Good luck. We're out of here. StatrCast.com. Go find the articles.
Peace out.